Hi, and welcome to session 2 of Control Alt Delete, Reboot Your Life. Today we're talking about parenting, and I have with us one of our members, Frank Kuhnstall, who's also a child psychologist. Frank, we looked at the story of David and Absalom, and I think often with our biblical characters we really elevate them to a high point. And yet with David, we see a lot of his great things. He's a man after God's own heart, but also some real struggles. I mean, he broke most of the 10 Commandments in the story of Bathsheba and that interaction, and had a real tough time as a parent as well. I'm sure had some regrets about that, and I think our story points to that. A question for you: what can we as parents today, or what can parents today do to escape tomorrow's regrets?
Yeah. Well, the today part is really important because it's hard to go right today for kids and even young kids. And if we look increasingly, I think people forget faith in their parenting, or that it's important, or in our society, biblical principles are not guiding like they once were. All these things at one time were natural. Now we see fighting against them, or restriction of prayer, or people who pray or of faith are almost looked at like there's something wrong. So as far as our kids go, I think the thing we can do the most is have that in our lives and teach kids that, involve them in prayer, in the church, with Christian principles and activities that build and increase their faith, the kind of kids they hang around with, just their involvements in everyday life, that faith becomes a natural part of living, but then also, because of all this, help them to deal with and tolerate things, because it's going to be hard for them to do things right. If they don't fit in and do the wrong thing and identify with other kids or what's happening with this, taking the right path is going to be a real challenge, and they're going to need dad or mom or one or both to help them through it, to stay with it, and to stay strong, and to go right for ourselves, to we don't have so many regrets because we aren't perfect. The same, that we ask, what exactly are we doing, as parents? What are we fighting against to stay connected and attuned to kids, to know what's going on with our children every day? And as long as we're connected and we are working at doing what's right, we have the best chance of getting almost like a vaccination against sin and all the things going wrong in our society, and giving our kids and our family the best chance, to go out there and deal with kids and schools and the world in a way that we stay in God's light and practice our faith, and it's going to be tough to do right. It's going to be easy to do wrong, and it's going to be easy to close our eyes. So we have to be open to that, and staying connected is where it's at, I think, with kids.
Okay. Yep. So, trying to follow the biblical principles as parents, to our kids, we hope that they choose the right thing. How is that going to be for those kids in their daily lives?
Especially when kids go to school or they're of school age, those good lessons, or what we try to teach them, or what we model for them at home, it's often going to be lost in school. And if we have kids who are living that way, or what we are teaching them about faith and behavior and how to treat others and so on, they're going to have a hard time with it, because they're not going to go along with what's going on with other children. A lot of the kids will be bullied, or made fun of, or called names, or be dorks, with other kids, or whatever it is, because they're trying to treat people right and live right. So natural fitting in with the crowd, they're going to have to reject some of this. They're going to have to be different than a lot of children. And it's not going to be easy for them. So we know that ahead of time. So we get a lot of encouragement, a lot of teaching about how hard it is to keep faith in today's world, and to basically anneal our children and help them to tolerate that kind of thing, to to know inside themselves that what they're doing right, to help build with them a faith that's strong at their ages, that they can see and understand to the level of their maturity at those times, and can just stay with it and be happy and proud of doing what's right, and then be the kind of children that other kids would like to model or can learn from or be friends with, and have that kind of special relationships in school. That's a way we turn it around, and that's a way we guarantee I think by teaching our kids that faith is hard in the world, and it's hard to stay with it, but you're doing right, and we'll be there for you and attuned, and that kind of openness and connecting with kids really helps them. We loan them a little of our ego and our confidence and strength so they can tolerate it and just deal with it, and then it's a wonderful experience for them that they can always do what is right, or what we've taught them is right, or what we follow, principles that are right.
So, luckily we're saved by grace, because we're never going to be perfect.
That's right.
And we are going to make mistakes with our kids.
Yeah.
And so how do we deal with those regrets as parents? How do we deal with those regrets when we do make mistakes?
Well, so often, like in the case of David, he had his regrets too late. Too late for his son or sons.
Yeah.
But one thing that we can do is remember that we're parents forever. Not just when the kids are littlest. That would be great if we could get a sense of regret or what we've done wrong and turn it around. We often don't have that chance.
Right.
But we're parents forever. But it's never too late to make like a mid-course correction or a late course correction, or reset that start button for parenting. That it says, you said, how do we deal with that? Or the passage says, deal with it. Well, by facing it, by working for understanding, by praying for understanding, by getting a sense of what are we doing wrong, what have we done wrong. Guilt is a powerful force for change, and there's a lot we can learn when things haven't gone right.
Right.
Sometimes we don't live very well when they've gone okay, but when we're challenged, or we look, or we slap our forehead, or say, why did I do that, or what did I do? Then we can pray, and we can ask for help and other assistance, to make things right, to alter the course the way they were, to bring things up, to face them head on. And it's tough, but regrets in that way are good. We can do that for a lifetime, correcting what didn't go right. Often we don't know with parenting where we've made mistakes. We've tried. We've tried to do what we thought was best.
Right.
God can help open our eyes, can help understand we've done wrong, can give us a gift of guilt so that we can change it around. So regrets can be a good guide of how to do it differently. You've got a whole lifetime to correct it.
Yeah. Well, how important is grace when parenting?
I think that's kind of what I'm saying. That's what it's all about. If we're in the faith, living in God's Word, that's where it happens. We are forgiven. We can forgive. Living that way helps us to think, what can we do? How can we get out of ourselves? Get more into our kids. See the world through them. See our parenting through them. Sometimes it's so good to ask for that kind of help and pray that we understand who we are with our kids, that we can take their perspective and say, is this the parent we want to be? How are we coming across? Am I living again what I lived with? Or am I my father, only now in the shape of a new person? So God can help open our eyes to comfort, to heal, and also we've been forgiven, and undeservedly at times forgiven. So maybe it makes us to help forgive, to think of correction or discipline as correction, doing things right, to not think, to always start parenting and get His help, to parent in a Christian way, and to have that be such a part of us that we can be, modeling for our children, teaching them through our own behavior, and having the faith gives us the strength to stay with it, to kind of endure. And we have a tough society that we always have to keep faith that we can have an impact, that it will change, that in our small way, we change one child, we're changing other children, we're changing the world.
Wow.
And we can do it from that little part of what we do in our own families and with ourselves. And we know we cannot do it alone. As I started, that's the core of a lot of our problems. And for people to think that we can handle this and we can handle our society without faith and without a guiding set of principles or biblical principles that teach us, what to do and how to do it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Pastor.
it, Frank.
Thank you, Pastor.
Appreciate it very much. Keep the faith and enjoy your discussion.